More on the Turkey attempted coup. I'm joined by Ivan Eland. He's the Senior Fellow and Director of Center on Peace and Liberty at the Independent Institute. Welcome back to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
You just heard Jim Spellman's report there that Erdogan believes Gulen is behind all of this. What is your feeling on this, and what would be his motivation?
Well, I'm very skeptical because his contacts are more in the judiciary and the police instead of the military, and this is a military faction that tried the coup. So, I mean, maybe they'll produce some evidence, but I think the U.S. position in this case is the right one, and that is, if there's evidence that he was involved, then maybe extradition is right. But I kind of doubt it. I think Erdogan is using the coup to enhance his own status, and one of the ways to do that is to get rid of people who disagree with you, even if they're in the United States instead of Turkey, because this guy does have a lot of influence in Turkey, and
he still does, even from Pennsylvania. How is that?
Well, he has this movement, and there are a lot of judicial officials and police officials apparently that are, followers of his movement. So he still has influence there, and I think obviously Erdogan would like to get his hands on him so he could get rid of one more opposition voice. I mean, Erdogan has become quite autocratic over time. He was genuinely elected 14 years ago, but he's steadily tried to get more power. In fact, his office, the presidency of Turkey, is a largely ceremonial office, but he's trying to turn it into much more. But he hasn't his electoral success hasn't been all that good, and so he's manipulated the Kurdish rebellion to try to enhance his status there, and that's caused a problem because now you have increased terrorist attacks and that sort of thing. And he's also got the terrorist attacks from ISIS and the refugee problem.
Did he know there were rumblings within the military faction, this faction that was upset with him?
I think this took him by surprise, really, but I think he's handled it well. And
How so?
Meaning he got power back. I'm saying that, well, it's bad to have a coup, and I think as autocratic as Erdogan was becoming, it's still, the country's more democratic than it would have been under the military.
Where does he go from here? How does he bridge the gap? Does he even have to? And why do you think this coup was unsuccessful? They weren't organized enough. They did not go after Erdogan. Where did you think they were going with this?
Well, I think Turkey's just become a more democratic country. As you go along in a democracy, the people get used to that. And I just thought, they did rally to his call, and so I think they've just had enough of military coups. Turkey's had a history of military coups. They've had 3 past coups and 1 intervention in 1997, all before Erdogan got elected. So, I mean, Turkey's had problem with this in the past, and I think people are just saying enough is enough. And Erdogan might not be the greatest guy in the world, but, he's better than military rule. I think that's probably what they're saying. And this enhances his status, and I think, he was in some electoral trouble before, and I think, and especially with all this terrorism and the refugees and everything, his status was declining. So I think this may have been, the best thing for him, really, politically.
Did you find it interesting that there are reports that the government used social media to rally people to the streets, and yet they have denounced social media?
Well, these types of regimes, they'll denounce it until they use it, right? And so before it was a threat to them because the opposition was using it. Now, when it's needed to rally against the military, of course, it's a good thing.
Has it been talked about that possibly any of this could have been staged to make him look stronger and
well,
more
it's
powerful?
so benefited from him that's the question. Could this have been staged by him? He handled it pretty well for a coup. I mean, you'd think his response would have been more chaotic than it was. So there are legitimate questions about that, since I think this really helps him politically.
All righty. Well, Ivan Eland, we really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.